The 8 logical inferences that prove the existence of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Long and Ailian. Everything has a source, and the source is the greatest creator. 万物有源，源头为上帝. The Amazon River that runs across South America, the mighty Nile River, the surging Yangtze River, and the roaring Mississippi River all have their headstreams. The Benguela Cold Current, Peru Cold Current, Mozambique Warm Current, and Guyana Warm Current all have their sources. The Rio de Janeiro London Airline, Los Angeles Paris Airline, Honolulu Manila Airline, and Paris Colombo Airline all have their starting points. All the tools we commonly use, from pencils, needles, shovels, spoons, and pliers to cars, computers, printers, cameras, and machine tools, as well as all the objects we use, from musical instruments, chess, painting and calligraphy, books, watches and clocks, to tables, chairs and wooden stool, shoes, socks, hats, teacups, thermoses, desk lamps, phones, refrigerators, and televisions. Everything created by humanity has its origin and did not appear out of nowhere. The cats, dogs, sheep, and pigs we keep in our homes all have a source, and even the plants we cultivate in our gardens, such as peonies, peaches, pears, and apricots, did not appear out of thin air. Their original origins can be traced. Music, writing, art, medicine, theories, methods, magic arts and axioms, and theorems all have sources. White Europeans, black Africans, yellow Asians, Arabians, and Brazilians are all descendants of their ancestors. The towering Himalayas, the fertile and vast Nile Delta, the extensive Amazon alluvial plain, and the Antarctic glaciers are all formed by the vicissitudes of history. All things have their origins, and the Earth, the solar system, and the universe are no exception. They too have their beginnings. Since everything has an origin, there must be a primordial origin, and this primordial origin is the greatest creator. Everything is in motion, and the primordial motive power comes from the greatest creator. 万物在动，出动力来自上帝. Mountains are rotating, winds are dancing, rivers are flowing, and springs are bubbling. Clouds are drifting, and the earth is moving. The sea is churning and flames are burning. Grass and trees are growing. Flowers are fading. Bacteria are multiplying, and insects are busy. Cows and sheep are grazing. Lions and tigers are running. Hens are laying eggs, and larks are singing. Electrons are swirling. Molecules are moving. Particles are flowing, and electromagnetic waves are rushing. Infrared radiation is radiating, and gamma rays are piercing. Electromagnetic waves are spreading, and photons are flashing. The heart is beating, blood is flowing, the skin is breathing, and the stomach is moving. Nerves are sensing, hair is growing, thoughts are connecting, and spirits are stirring. Though seated, we travel 1,000 miles in a flash. The Milky Way spans millions of years. The sun, moon, stars, and celestial bodies fly by like lightning. Black hair at dawn turning white at dusk. Everything in the universe is in motion, and it is through mutual impetus that things move. But where does the initial force originate if there is no greatest creator? Everything has an image, and the nature of the image is energy, with the core of this energy being the greatest creator. 万物有相，相的本质是能量，能量的核心是上帝. An image refers to the size, shape, appearance, and structural type of an object, which is a watershed that distinguishes one substance from another and one object from another. Microorganisms and insects, grass and trees, humans and other animals, mountains and rivers, and so on, all are different, and the reason is that their images are different. If everything has its own unique image, how is an image generated? The origin of an image lies in the genetic structure. The image of something is determined by its genetic structure. The image of water is different from that of oil because their molecular structures are different, which means their genetic structures are different. However, any structure without the participation of energy can only be an illusion. For example, if we want to build a house, we first need to imagine the structure of the house in our brain. For complex buildings, we also need to draw a schematic diagram of the structure. But without the input of mechanical and human energy, the structure we imagined in our brain can only be an illusion. Only when we put in the energy of manpower and material resources can the structure that we imagined in our brain become a real house. A seed can only become a plant after absorbing nutrients and water from the soil and heat and light from the sun. A fertilized egg in the mother's womb can only develop into an animal with a head and feet if it is constantly supplied with nutritional energy. A light bulb can only emit light when electricity is input. A pile of soil can only become a mountain with the energy of the continuous movement of the earth. A river can only become a raging torrent with the energy of thousands of streams. So where does this energy come from? Let's trace it back to its source. For a small sapling to grow leaves, it needs to absorb water, which mainly comes from the infiltration of rainwater. So where does the rainwater come from? Rainwater comes from clouds that carry water vapor from the sky. And where do the clouds come from? The wind carries them from the ocean. And where does the wind come from? The cold and hot air currents on Earth form it through convection. And how are the cold and hot air currents formed? They are formed because the surface of the Earth continuously gains and loses solar energy as it rotates, ignoring factors such as lunar gravity. So how did the Earth start to rotate? And what force keeps it rotating continuously? According to the law of energy conservation, there can be no perpetual motion machine in the universe. The motion and changes of any object must be driven by one or more other energies. Without energy, there is no motion or change in anything. Therefore, all the motion and changes in things must ultimately have an initial push of energy that is not constrained by other energies. This initial energy is the greatest creator. The initial rotation of the Earth was driven by the energy of the greatest creator, and after it was set in motion, it was driven by other planets in the solar system, including comets. Everything is connected by cause and effect, and every effect has a cause. The initial cause of all causes is the greatest creator. For 因果相连，凡果都有因，所有因的出因是上帝. We've all had headaches before. Although the causes of each person's headache may be different, there is always a cause, and there is never a headache for no reason. Regardless of what kind of disease a person has, the disease always has a cause, even congenital diseases. There should be no dispute about this. Similarly, typhoons, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, sandstorms, SARS viruses, etc., all have their reasons for occurring. The Second World War, the Crusades, the Middle East wars, etc., all have reasons and will not occur for no reason. Many Jews were killed during World War II. The Titanic hit an iceberg. The World Trade Center in the United States was bombed. The Soviet Union disintegrated. Hong Kong was reclaimed, and Saddam's regime was forcibly removed. All of these events had their reasons. Does the Earth not orbit the Sun and the Moon not orbit the Earth for a reason? Do plane crashes, train collisions, collapsed buildings, and floods not have a reason? Do being condemned by thousands, losing one's family and possessions, being imprisoned, and dying from unfortunate events not have a reason? Do having sores on the head and pus flowing from the feet, being deaf and blind, and losing limbs not have a reason? Do tigers hunting deer, birds catching insects, pigs being slaughtered, and people encountering unexpected misfortunes not have a reason? Did the ancient civilizations of the Maya, Greece, Egypt, Rome, Syria, Persia, and Babylon disappear without a reason? Did the rise of the new American civilization not have a reason? In the inevitable article of Chanyuan Corpus, I listed the following phenomena: the rise of wind and waves, the ebb and flow, the rising of clouds and falling of rain, snow and mist, thunder and lightning, tsunamis, typhoons, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, sandstorms, the disappearance of birds, sunrise and sunset, rainbows, eclipses, the changing of the seasons, the migration of birds, the hibernation of frogs and snakes, the morning song of the skylark, the crowing of the rooster, the proliferation of insects, the multiplication of bacteria, birth in the spring, and growth in the summer, harvesting in autumn and storage in winter, the entanglement of vines, the fragrance of the cinnamon tree, the blooming and falling of flowers, the sunflowers facing the sun, the drifting of continents, the splitting of the earth's crust, the melting of snow-covered mountains, the disappearance of small islands, changes in the course of rivers, landslides in mountains, the increasing height of peaks, the weathering of rocks, the crisscrossing of gullies, the shifting of sand dunes, springs emerging from rocks, waterfalls hanging from cliffs, and the transportation of sand by rivers, the appearance of deltas, and so on, all have a reason. Whether in the sky or on Earth, all phenomena or results have a reason, and we cannot find a phenomenon or result without any reason. If the reason for the appearance of life on Earth is due to the existence of the Earth and the solar system, and the reason for the creation of the solar system is because of the existence of the Milky Way, then what is the reason for the birth of the Milky Way? If we continue to trace it back, we will know that at the beginning of the universe, there must have been a first cause, and that cause, the dynamic force, is the greatest creator. Everything has a purpose for its existence, and the ultimate purpose is the greatest creator. 5. 万物存在都有目的，终极的目的是上帝。The purpose of microorganisms is to enrich soil and decompose organic matter. The purpose of soil is to nourish plants. The purpose of plants is to provide food for insects and animals. And the overall purpose of plants and animals is to serve humans. So, what is the purpose of humans? Any object created by humans has a purpose. The purpose of a car is transportation. The purpose of a phone is communication. The purpose of clothing is warmth. And the purpose of a house is shelter. The purpose of the countless objects created by humans is only one: to serve humans. So, what is the purpose of humans? The purpose of the entire galaxy is to serve a few special star systems, one of which is the solar system. The purpose of the solar system is only one: to serve Earth. The purpose of Earth is also only one: to serve humans. So, who do humans serve? The existence of the sun, moon, ocean, air, land, ozone layer, and so on is all for the benefit of humans. Even the existence of flies, mosquitoes, and rats ultimately serves humans. Viruses that cause disease also exist to maintain the balance of humans. So, what is the purpose of human existence? Everything in the material world exists to serve humans. So are we humans simply the supreme enjoyers? Does our existence have no purpose? We humans raise cows, horses, pigs, sheep, chickens, and ducks. But for what purpose? Do we not have any purpose when we cultivate crops? Do we not have any purpose when we create airplanes, atomic bombs, and spaceships? All human activities have a clear purpose, and everything in the universe has a purpose for its existence. Are humans the only creatures without a purpose? Humans do have a purpose for their existence, and that is to serve the greatest creator. Why do we humans not realize that our existence is to serve the greatest creator? It is like the bees we keep do not realize they are serving us unless they have human-like thinking. Unless we have the same thinking as the greatest creator, we do not know the purpose of our human existence. In human history, only Jesus and Buddha knew the greatest creator, while Muhammad and Laozi had some understanding of the greatest creator. I clearly tell everyone that the purpose of human existence is to serve the greatest creator. The ultimate purpose of all existence in the universe is for the greatest creator. Knowing the ultimate purpose of human existence, we have a goal to live for: to serve the greatest creator. Existing for the greatest creator, we have a bright future. Turning away from the greatest creator, our future will be dark. Life is graded, and the highest grade is the greatest creator. 生命有等级，最高级就是上帝。The universe exists in order, and the essence of order is hierarchy. Take stones as an example. The grade of a diamond is relatively high, while the grade of a stone that can be broken by hand is relatively low. The grade of ruby and sapphire is higher than that of cat's eye stone, and the grade of cat's eye stone is higher than that of yellow sapphire and spinel. The grades of yellow sapphires and spinels are higher than that of aquamarines and zircons, and they gradually decrease to emeralds, green gems, tourmalines, crystals, garnets, olivines, jades, wood fossils, nephrite, opal, moonstones, sunstones, turquoise, Suyan jade, malachite, coral, pumice stone, granite, and bluestone, all the way down to ordinary pebbles. Taking humans as an example, according to the percentage of spirituality in human nature, there are 18 grades of human beings. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Laozi are the first grade. St. Peter, Paul, and Tang Sanzang are the second grade. Chinese Taoist figures such as Zhang Sanfeng are the third grade. Beethoven, Bach, Rodin, Strauss and Einstein are the 4th grade. Zhangzia, Zhangliang, and Zhuge are the 5th grade. Rural farmers who are simple and untainted by the pollution of commodity society are the 6th grade. Washington, Lincoln are the 7th grade. Florence Nightingale is the 8th grade. Shakespeare, Lu Sun, and Hu Shi are the 9th grade. Tang Taizong, Kangxi are the 10th grade. Fictional characters from novels such as Liangshan heroes, Zhu Yingtai, Romeo, and Juliet are the 11th grade. The vast majority of ordinary people are the 12th grade. The vast majority of government officials in China since ancient times are the 13th grade. Shakespeare's characters such as Grindelwald, Sherlock, and the profit-seeking merchant Shylock are the 14th grade. People who live frivolously and live in the moment are the 15th grade. Those who are selfish, self-interested, and do not uphold public ethics are the 16th grade. Those who live in confusion are the 17th grade. Those who confuse good and evil are the 18th grade. Taking life as an example, from low to high, they are life in molten lava and flames, life in ice and snow, life in eternal darkness, life in mountains and rocks, life in soil, life in water, life in air, plants, insects, land animals, aerial animals, livestock and poultry, dogs, human beings, people in the 1,000-year world, celestial beings in the 10,000-year world, Buddhas in the Elysium world, gods in the heaven world, and the greatest creator in the zero world. Life has grades, and wherever there are grades, there must be the highest grade. The highest grade of life is the greatest creator. Everything is in order, and the greatest creator is the maker of order. 7. 万物有序，秩序的制定者是上帝. Human society is organized with orders. A country can only have one president. This is an order. If there were 2 presidents, the country would surely split into 2. When 10 companies merge into one, there will be one CEO, not 10. Subordinates obey superiors, employees obey bosses, police restrain criminals, and businesses must have a license, etc. All these are orders. Although the Constitution and laws are made by humans, it cannot be said that orders are made by humans. The order created by humans must conform to human nature and the basic norms of society. For example, no matter how extremely bright and intelligent the people in a country are, you cannot establish the order of having 2 presidents in one country because the order of having one leader for a group is established by the greatest creator, which cannot be violated. Whether it's a group of ants, a hive of bees, a group of goats, a pack of wolves, a family, or a clan, there can only be one leader. The order of human life, from fetus, baby, adolescent, young adult, middle-aged, menopause, old age, to death, is established by the greatest creator and cannot be violated. Being hungry requires eating, and eating requires excretion. This is also an order that cannot be controlled by humans. Each person has their own life trajectory, which is the program of life that cannot be changed by subjective will. Every parent hopes that all their children will become successful and bring honor to the family, but the hope remains a hope. Children will live according to the program of their own life trajectory, which is why some children succeed while others do not. If personal will could determine one's life trajectory, pigs and dogs would become humans, and everyone could become an emperor. The vast majority of people, especially those who are wealthy and influential, do not want to die. But wanting to live does not change the fact that death is inevitable because it is the order established by the greatest creator. If the people before you do not die, there will be no way forward for those who come after. Everyone is equal in the face of death, and this is the order. The moon revolves around the earth revolves around the sun and rotates on its own axis, and the solar system follows the Milky Way. This is the order. Dragons give birth to dragons, phoenixes give birth to phoenixes, and the offspring of mice dig holes. This is the order. Those who respect the greatest creator and live according to the order established by the greatest creator can enter the higher level of life space. Those who despise the greatest creator and live against the order established by the greatest creator will inevitably descend to the lower level of life space. This is also the order. Everything has order. So who created this order? Was it our human ancestors? Was it an emperor from a certain dynasty? Was it the dinosaurs? Definitely not. Apart from the greatest creator, who else has this ability? All things are interconnected, and the end point of this interconnection is the greatest creator. 8万物相互感应，感应的终端是上帝. In the universe, everything is connected to each other through reaction. Reaction is the process by which something senses and responds to external stimuli. External stimuli can be divided into two types: explicit and implicit stimuli. Explicit stimuli are mainly conveyed through form, smell, color, sound, temperature, texture, and brightness. Implicit stimuli are mainly conveyed through sound waves, electromagnetic waves, thought waves, biological waves, same frequency waves, radiation, and other means. For example, when people see beautiful birds, blue skies, handsome men, and beautiful women, they feel happy. When they see caterpillars, snakes, dark rolling clouds, or devils in horror movies, they feel afraid. When they see sexy women in short skirts, they feel aroused. When they encounter things they dislike, they feel disgusted, mainly due to different forms of stimuli. Smelling the fragrance from the kitchen can increase one's appetite, while smelling the stench of overflowing feces in the toilet can make one feel nauseous. The fragrance of flowers can make one feel refreshed, while the smell of vomit from a drunk person can make one feel uneasy, mainly due to different odor stimuli. Seeing colorful flowers can make one happy. Seeing the bloody scene of a murder can be distressing. Seeing the color blue can feel refreshing, and seeing the color red can feel warm, mainly due to different color stimuli. Beautiful singing, moving melodies, and sweet words from a loved one can make people's emotions surge and their thoughts wander, while the sound of a shovel scraping against concrete, funeral music, and ferocious and malevolent shouting can make people feel fearful, irritable, and depressed, mainly due to different sound stimuli. When it is cold, muscles contract. When it is hot, sweat glands expand. Sleeping on a comfortable mattress feels good, while lying in a corner made of stone makes one uncomfortable. Beautiful spring scenery can make people feel ecstatic, while pitch darkness can make people feel frightened, mainly due to different reactions to temperature, texture, and brightness. The above are examples of how people respond to explicit stimuli from the external environment. Examples of how people respond to implicit stimuli are as follows. Sometimes people feel anxious or restless for no apparent reason. This is because of the thought waves or biological waves of people who are associated with them. From a perspective of hyperspace and time, when certain events are about to happen, there may be same frequency waves that stimulate people's nerves in advance. Just like the geomagnetic waves before an earthquake, many animals are sensitive to these waves, such as fish jumping out of the water, dogs barking, horses neighing, mice running around, and roosters crowing. Sometimes our ears get hot and our faces feel hot, which is a premonition of information related to us, just like the upcoming cold air current that stimulates people with arthritis. In Water Margin, Lin Chong, the head of the 800,000 Imperial Guard troop, seeking shelter at the mountain temple due to the snowstorm may seem like a coincidence, but it was actually a response to the events that were about to happen. Without this sensitivity, he would have been killed in the fire. In Robinson Crusoe, the protagonist describes a similar experience. After I had settled my affairs and sold my goods and turned them into reliable bills of exchange, the next difficult problem was which route to take back to England. I was accustomed to traveling by sea, but at this time, I had a strange aversion to going back to England by sea, even though I couldn't give a reason. This resistance in my mind kept growing stronger and stronger. One time, I even had my luggage loaded onto the ship, but suddenly changed my mind, and this happened 2 or 3 times in a row. It's true, I've had too many unfortunate events at sea in my lifetime, which could be one of the reasons, but in these situations, a person cannot completely ignore their inner impulse. There were 2 ships, and I had decided to board them, meaning that I had specifically chosen them. One of them had my luggage on it, and I had spoken with the captain of the other one, but I didn't end up boarding either of them. Later, these 2 ships encountered problems. One of them was captured by Algerians, and the other one sank at start near Tobago Bay, with only 3 survivors out of the entire crew. Regardless of which ship I boarded, I would have had bad luck. As for which ship was unluckier, that's hard to say. This is a kind of sensing of implicit stimuli. Without this sensing, Robinson would have been buried at sea. Subconscious behavior is a kind of inexplicable, hard-to-explain sensing behavior. This sensing behavior has saved the lives of billions of people, but has also led tens of thousands of people to death. Someone has studied biological sensing. He divided 50 snails into 25 pairs and put each pair together. After some time, he wrote the same letters on the shells of each snail in each pair. He then took one snail from each pair to the United States and left the other one in Paris. Later, at a designated time, he stimulated the snail left in Paris with an electric current, and at the same time, the other snail in the pair that was taken to the United States also exhibited an electric current stimulation response. The snail in Paris had an electric current stimulation response because it was stimulated by the electric current, but why did the snail in the United States also have an electric current stimulation response when it was not stimulated by an electric current? It's because it sensed it, and its response was a subconscious behavior. Animals such as pigeons, dogs, and horses have a sense of their owner's whereabouts. After a pigeon is released, it can find its owner who has moved to a new location. If you put a dog in a box and take it a few hundred kilometers away before releasing it, it can accurately find its way back. There was an animal trainer named Duluth who could use mental suggestions to make animals perform. Once, he secretly commanded a dog in his mind, "Go to the piano and use your paws to hit the white keys." It was said that the dog obeyed without fail. Another time, upon everyone's request, he made two lions who had been friendly to each other for 3 years start to bite each other. Once, a researcher named Kerensky asked Duluth, "Since you can use mental suggestions, can you suggest that I do something?" Duluth agreed and told him to sit still without moving. Duluth picked up a piece of paper, quickly wrote a few words on it, covered it with his hand, and looked at Kerensky. Although Kerensky didn't feel anything special, he unconsciously scratched behind his right ear with his hand, and before he put his hand down, Duluth handed him the paper, which read, "Scratch behind your right ear." From the examples above, we can see that Kerensky involuntarily scratched behind his right ear without feeling anything special, which seems to be Kaczynski's personal behavior, but in fact, he faithfully carried out Durlov's instructions. The world-renowned psychic Master Wolf Mason once had dinner with the famous founder of psychology, Sigmund Freud, at Einstein's residence in Vienna. During the dinner, Freud secretly conducted an experiment without saying a word. He merely gave Mason a telepathic command, instructing him to go to the bathroom and take a pair of tweezers from the mirror frame, and then pluck 3 beard hairs from Einstein's chin. After giving the silent command, Freud continued to eat and drink on his own, and the guests continued to chat and laugh as usual. Mason seemed to be completely unaware, but when the coffee arrived, Mason immediately stood up, went to the bathroom, took a pair of tweezers, walked to Einstein's side, bent down, gently lifted Einstein's chin, carefully plucked 3 hairs and placed them in front of Freud. Examples like this are numerous. All living beings in the vast world subconsciously execute commands. Our next action, the next sentence, may seem like individual behavior, but it is actually a response to explicit and implicit stimuli from the outside world. So, who are we taking orders from? According to the level of life, lower-level life senses the commands of higher-level life, and lower-energy life senses the commands of higher-energy life. This means that plants receive commands from animals, humans, celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Animals receive commands from humans, celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Humans receive commands from celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Celestial beings receive commands from Buddhas and gods. Buddhas receive commands from gods. Who do gods take orders from? Gods take orders from the greatest creator. The ultimate stimuli is the greatest creator. From the 40 pieces of evidence and 8 logical inferences above, we can no longer doubt the existence of the greatest creator. Since the greatest creator exists, what are the features of the greatest creator?